Hey guys, what's up? Happy Sunday. Um, doing a live stream because I feel like doing a live stream, and I don't really have any particular topic, but yeah, just wanted to do a live stream. So anyway, what's been going on with you guys?
I couldn't find the tripod for a second. I'm like, where the heck is it? Oh, I can't tell where
It's you gotta look down there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where your thing is. Your thing's at the bottom.
I know.
Yeah, I just did like 2 videos, so but they're not up yet. One's uploading. It's probably gonna be up real high. I can lower this a little bit. All I see is arm.
Oh wait. Well, we could put it on the floor too.
That's whatever you want to do.
Show the
junk.
Yeah.
The girls' coats.
Okay. There we go.
Seems like you're doing an interview.
I'm not doing an interview. That's what you get for being too tall. Okay, I guess I'll take my hair out. So, one thing, I need a haircut, right?
No, my knees are
Look.
hurt.
It's like, you can't even see how long it is. It's off camera.
You don't need a haircut. Stop it, Quincy.
Let me know if you think I should get a haircut.
You should get a haircut.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Hershey and I were just talking, and something we don't always get to do uninterrupted, although this wasn't uninterrupted either.
I don't need any of these yet. These are cherries.
No, I am waiting on dinner.
I know.
So, yeah, making dinner. It's super fancy tonight. It's Sloppy Joe and tater tots and baked beans. Super fancy.
Was there anything in particular? Because I thought you were gonna do like a YouTube based on something.
A YouTube based on something?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I kind of want, but see, this would be demonetized. Do you know what? Okay, so
everything's demonetized.
So demonetized. The first 2 syllables, demon.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, and I did a video that will go up later that talks about, because I'm having a bend, I still can't do that, how YouTube cherry picks videos that they want to demonetize, and yet they allow hate speech from people, and they do absolutely nothing. And, they sent this letter, and I actually was an email, and I read it, I believe, in one of the videos talking about how they...
you really don't need a haircut, one long braid.
I agree. How they will allow a whole bunch of hate, and they do absolutely nothing about that. But then as soon as you post something that is talking about a particular situation, or you're talking about something that's positive or what have you, then they want to demonetize or limit the ads. So I think that really and truly, to me, YouTube co-signs a lot of this hate. And not only that, I mean, there's others that do the same thing. I mean, it's not just that YouTube's the only one, but you're finding some content creators calling YouTube out because of just some of the tactics that they use. And me personally, since, we don't rely on no YouTube check to keep us going, because if that was the case, like I told everybody else, we'd be under the bridge on a little box. But, because we're not out here trying to do stuff, that's like that. But YouTube will sit and literally tell you, they'll look at a video and say, we're not going to monetize it. And then whenever you say, watch the video, even though it's something positive, it can be talking about trying to save dogs. But if you say something that they don't necessarily like,
or even a word and not knowing the context.
One word.
Because I think they have the bots that go through, and if you say certain words, then it automatically gets flagged. Not knowing the context around saying those words, but it's just, I don't know. So I was just gonna talk. I think I was just gonna talk about the documentary that we watched, and then like my perspective. I think I've shared it before, but like that documentary really helped reinforce it.
Yeah.
So we recently watched what's it called? One Child Nation. I think it's available on Amazon Prime, and it's about China and their policy about one child. And so talks about, kind of goes into that. I mean, into pretty specific detail about things that the state employed doctors had to do. So they were like the village doctors that were assigned to work in these villages, and the things that they had to do in the name of enforcing this policy. So part of it is about that. And then the other part is about how some of the children came to be in the orphanages. So one of the things that really struck a chord with me was these were state-run orphanages, so state-run, government-owned, and they had people that were finding babies abandoned. Now, most of the time they were female babies, but I don't know if they really talked about if they were ever boy babies, but there were babies abandoned, and the stories that it goes into how babies were abandoned is awful. It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
But then there was a family or a group of people that started rescuing babies, finding babies that were still alive, and were taking them to the state-run orphanages. Well, then it started out as they okay, we're saving this child. Then it started out into, there's people across the seas that want children from our country, so we're gonna do this. And so it really starts in where Chinese adoptions really picked up in the 90s, which if you are in any kind of the world in terms of, hey Misty, in any terms of the world of adoption, you'll know that Korea is kind of the OG of international adoptions. I mean, yeah. Gangsta, yeah. So, because Korean adoption started after the Korean War, so you had this influx of GI babies, so half white, maybe half black, but mostly half white and half Korean babies from all the soldiers that were there in the war. So they didn't want these babies. Babies couldn't be there, so they shipped them out. So that's really where Korean adoption started, was in the 50s. So Korean adoptions have been happening since the 50s. Chinese adoptions really started picking up their international adoptions in the 90s. So that's where it kind of starts to explain. But it got to the point where they were bringing all these children to the orphanages, finding children, telling families that hey, we'll take care of the kid, drop them off at the orphanage, right? Then the orphanage has this sob story of this child who was abandoned or whatever, and a white couple from Europe or most likely the US buys this baby, right? For me, that was the one thing that was okay, if this is not legalized human trafficking, then I don't know what is. It's because also at the point they talk about these state-run orphanages, then decided to turn on the people that were bringing them babies and prosecuted them and put them in prison. So it was you can't tell me that is not a money-making venture for these countries.
That was strange for me. That was kind of weird where this one family started to take these babies that they would basically rescue. Some of these kids were just kind of left. And so the whole point of them taking them was, okay, we'll just take them to, because I think China had the government-ran orphanages. And so they would take them to government-ran orphanages, and then they were given, I guess, money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So then later on, after a certain period of time, the government cracked down on that, and then they started prosecuting them. They started to put them in jail for it, and it's but you just paid
me the other day for this, and now you're going to.
So I thought that was totally messed up. I mean, in terms of adoption, I know there's a lot of people that have, and I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you, other than Noelle's situation. Um, I don't know much about it. I don't know how I feel about it. That I just know, based on Noelle's experiences, it wasn't as positive as some people. Some people had wonderful experiences, and that's great. And I think that they all should be, hopefully, wonderful experiences. But I think sometimes they just allow babies to go to people that have zero cultural experience with those children. And sometimes those kids are kept away from that element of their life. It's kind of like, turn your back on that, never look back at your culture. Hey, Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
And to me, I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with prosecuting people that you've paid to help rescue kids. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, the other thing too is that, so there are over 200,000 adoptees who've been adopted out of Korea. So that's a lot of people. Most of them have gone to the U.S. Some of them have gone to Europe. And then, I'm sure there's other countries that they've gone to, but the large majority have gone to white countries, right? So there's, with social media, Facebook and everything.
White countries, though.
What?
The U.S. is not really a white country.
You sure about that?
I mean, to me, a white country means like Finland or the Ukraine. That's to me is a white country.
Okay. Anyway. That's a whole nother topic.
We have these little debates.
So, with social media and everything, a lot of us are connected because of Facebook groups and different things like that. And so there's also people who are advocates in the Korean adoption community who have helped us get our DNA testing done, right?
That's true.
And who have helped connect people and have helped people find their birth families. But for a large population of us who have tried to do birth searches for our families, first of all, we're all given the same story to our adoptive parents that, they were abandoned. They were found on church steps. They were found at the police station. They were abandoned here. They were abandoned there. And so you can't say that all of these babies were just put in a little box or put in a little basket and left on this doorstep. You can't tell me that all of these babies that happened to, right? And then when one of those babies who was abandoned and found on a doorstep decides to do a birth search, then they're told, the orphanage where you were burned down and the records don't exist anymore. I mean, I've never heard of so many fires of all, somebody's just burning down orphanages. I don't think so. It's just, we're all given the same story to start with, and then throughout the process, we still get fed the same story. So
does that happen also to the guy named Dan or whatever? What's his name, Dan?
Dan in real life. He's a YouTuber, and he finds out he has a twin.
Yeah. No, that happened also in China too. In that documentary, there was twins. So sometimes that happened quite often where.
And then the two girls from Korea.
Yeah.
Right, Twinster.
I think so, yeah.
Were they Korea or they're Korean?
I can't remember.
So I mean, all of this, you can't tell me that we've all had the same story, the same sad story. And so with social media, all of this stuff has kind of been brought to light. But still just helps me feel validated, and reinforces the fact that adoption is truly a legalized form of human trafficking. You can't say that you're not buying a child. Again, this is my experience. You're welcome to your opinion. You're never going to change my opinion. And I don't.
Off.
What?
You're going off. Getting a sweat and everything.
No, I'm not.
This is my opinion. You're not going to change my opinion. They didn't even say nothing. There ain't nothing there.
I know. I'm just saying, though, because people will be like, but your life is so much better. Sure.
I think the reason why people say that, though,
because they don't know what to say. But
right.
That's not the thing to say. I can tell you that. Because that minimizes my experience.
I agree.
That minimizes my opinion. That invalidates invalidates, that invalidates me and my experience and my feelings and my emotions around everything. So I am very passionate about
I
that,
think they can tell.
clearly. But yeah, I just, like, people ask me a lot, like, oh, would you adopt? If I ever adopted, it would be domestic. It would be from the foster system. I'd probably foster to adopt. Because there are children here that need it. And
there was a time though when you wanted to adopt, but I think that changed after having our kids, right?
Yeah. So and it was never it was a thing that I was like, well, I would consider, but it was never oh, I have to or I want to, right?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that was something that you said you wanted to do.
And I think part of it too was for me to try to correct and rewrite my story for someone else, but that's not what life is about.
No, that's not the reason to.
So that's the wrong reason. That adoption is the reason why I went into social work. And my whole reasoning was to work in adoption and to work in post-adoption education and counseling. And once I got into the schooling, I was like, nah, bruh. Because I would never be, as a therapist, you're supposed to be unbiased. Like, Misty, you got me? You're supposed to be unbiased, right? And like help them.
Therapist?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's a therapist. But for me, if I'm doing post-adoption counseling and I'm working with a family and there's an international adoptee and they're telling me the story, like, my heart's probably always going to go for the adoptee. Like, maybe depending on the situation, but so I knew I would not be able to be effective in that arena. So I went mental health and addiction. So yeah. Well, this is not what I was expecting our live stream to be. They probably weren't either. I think I called it hanging out.
They're like,
but this is how we hang out.
This is heavy. You do a live stream and come out just swinging.
You want to tell them about our interaction?
Interaction? What are you talking about?
There's kids running around.
Oh. Well, yeah. So we're in the studio on Friday, and so anyhow, we're just the kids were with us because they had no schooling on Friday, and I've never seen a situation where kids are always out of school. Our kids are always out of school for something. And there was teacher development day or something. I don't know. So hey, B and L Jamerin, thank you so much. Or Jamerson. I'm sorry.
Who is it?
Their name.
B&L J Marine. Hello from New York City. Hey.
So they were out of school, and so they were at the studio, and so they were just sitting down chilling. They were like coloring, doing their thing, and so this lady comes from downstairs. She has a shop there. She comes up, and so Noelle greets everybody that comes to the door, and so this lady comes off saying like, I don't know. She was just like. You need to not have people run through here and jump around because, she has a shop where things are falling off and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they assume that if they see kids, that their kids act as stupid as her kids probably acted, right? And I'm going to say that because she's old, and I'm sure that her kids are way older than me. Oh, Jamaican and Korean. That's
Jamaican
cool.
and Korean.
I like it. That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Jamorian.
Jamorian.
Yeah, maybe. So anyhow, so she was like, just going off, and we're like, what?
Like, who are you?
Like, what are you
Welcome
talking
to
about?
our studio.
Yeah. So then, Noelle was just like, but they're not running around. And she's like, I'm just letting you know for future reference. It's like, what? And she's like, sometimes there's people who probably run up and down the hallway. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, if that's the case, then we're not responsible for that. And I'm like, yeah, like you're going to fall or make the camera fall. I said, yeah. I'm like, that's not my problem when people run up and down the chain.
She said, it causes things to fall off her desk and her shelves. And I said, yeah. I said, this is an old building. I said, the floors. I said, when people move stuff into the venue space, I said, things fall off our shelves. Like, we've had to, try to like vibration proof our stuff because product falls off and gets broken. So I'm like, yeah, like yeah. So when people walk through with a heavy cart, things fall off. So like, you can't say that if the floors are that weak that a 3-year-old can make stuff fall, then you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Did you know that the Chinese genocidal forced organ harvesting communists are creating biological weapons to destroy America in order to replace the U.S. freedom model with the China communist model? That's, I don't know. That's
and not to be rude. Let me say this. Not to be rude, because I'm just not. That's not the person that I am. But there's something I came across the other day, and it said, and I said, this is how my mama raised me, right? Was to do no harm, but don't take any crap. But it doesn't say crap, right? I'm that type of person where it took me a while to get there, but I don't do any harm to anybody, but I don't take any crap either. So a lot of times when I do videos and I say I don't really care if people, like, the videos coming up, I basically talk about, Kobe Bryant and some of the hate he's been getting. And I said, people will thumbs down the video, and that's fine. I don't care if people thumbs down or thumbs it up. If you thumbs it up, that's great, that's cool. If you thumbs it down, that's cool. I even told her, I said, thumbs it down really kind of turns me on. It turns me on because I know I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling something's hitting.
We know we've hit a nerve.
We hit a nerve, so it's like I'm cool with that. Social media doesn't run my life like that. I'm too old. Now, if I was probably 20 years younger, it might, but at this point, I'm too old to care about that. That doesn't really rattle me. And so when this old lady comes into the store, it's like I'm too old for you to be trying to school me. Like, if your business is things are falling off, either A, you need to upgrade your shelves, or B, you need to find a new location where you don't have to worry about that.
But my kids are not the ones that are responsible.
No, and there's plenty of stuff downstairs, so I'm just going to laugh at you. Like, I don't take people seriously whenever you don't either A, put a good effort in front, or B, you hide behind something, or whatever the case. Man up. If you're a man, man up. This woman tried to come in there, and I don't know if she.
I don't know. She did, but I felt like she tried to come for us and come for me and come for my kids, and I'm like, my kids have done nothing wrong. No. I've done nothing wrong. Like, this is the first interaction I've ever had with you, and this is how you introduce yourself to me. Like, no. And so I got.
Yes, that's true. Turn your haters into motivators.
Yes.
And that's what people don't understand. It's like when you hate, all you're doing is motivating people to do the exact same thing. Because I triggered you, so now I'm thirsty. So I'm just going to keep doing the same things that's going to irritate you because you don't like it, but I'm still giving a positive message. I'm still doing the right thing, but I'm just going to keep doing the exact same things that's going to like irritate you. It's just like people who don't like interracial relationships, yet they go onto those channels and then they hate. Why would you do that? Like, I don't get it. To me, it's just, it's a sickness.
So she was like going on and on, and I was like, okay, great. Thanks.
And of course I laughed.
And I was, because I'm like, I'm not paying you any more attention.
No.
And she kept going on and on. She's like, well, and if they're making noise over there, then I come up here. I'm like, great. That's perfect. Like, okay, I don't care. And then also the thing is we're not directly above her.
No.
So we're on the opposite side of the hallway. So even if I did have people running around in the studio, which I don't because things would fall off the wall,
right,
like all of our shelves. So all of our product would be broken. So I'm like, I'm not. Yeah, and I'm like, whatever. So then she got all flustered and ended up leaving. But it was like, you come in like a whirlwind. Like, what response did you expect?
Well, the thing is,
I'm not gonna roll over.
No, like you came in, like when she came in, you were respectful. You're like, hey, and greets people. That's my thing. If I'm nice and you're still trash, don't expect me to get down there in the trash and roam around in the slime with you, along with the maggots. That's not what I do. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. And it's funny because when you were snapping back at her, she just didn't know what to expect. She expected
Well, and I
Noelle to be
wasn't
docile.
like disrespectful.
No, it was funny. It was funny though. Noelle's not docile.
No.
That's not, and I tell people that no, that's not the way that she is. If that's what you think, you're going to be hurting because she'll tell you. I mean, she's nice, and I am too. But when you push me to a point, you're going to see the side of me that you don't get to see.
And it just made no sense. And like, don't come at my kids.
Yeah.
Like,
somebody else did that.
Whatever you want to think about our kids, because we are who we are as a family or a couple, or if that's where you're coming from, then I ain't got no time for that.
No. So there was another woman that did the exact same thing, old too, and you know.
Oh yeah. Toby.
Yeah, and and basically snapped right back. And so to me, whenever you need help for something, I'm not the one that's going to help you.
You know, the thing that gets me, because our apartment in Seattle, we had people being passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, that boils
that's
my blood.
To me, that's what a thumbs down is. If you thumbs down, you're passive aggressive. That's basically being very, I'm not going to say. To me, if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you, look, I don't like it because X, Y, and Z. Anybody can thumbs down something. I mean, that's to me, that's.
So we'd have people.
So when you have people sit and make comments like the old ladies were, to me, like I can respect that because you're coming at us and saying like, hey, and the other don't expect us not to give you business back, but at least you can do that. But when people do something passive aggressively, that is like. I don't have
these offhanded comments like, oh, I don't even what.
Well, the one lady said, you know, she was talking to someone and she was trying to introduce me to them. All she was doing was basically pointing out somebody who she was talking trash about before. And she's like, yeah, you know, they got kids and you'll see them running and jumping around here. And I said, they don't jump and run around.
Oh, yeah.
Now, maybe your kids did that back in the day, because this woman's at least, I don't know, 70. Maybe your kids you raised and they did that, but that's not what ours do.
No.
And so now, whenever she needs help about something, I mean, I'm still nice. I'll say hi or whatever. And she stopped and talked to me the other day a little bit, but I don't respect you. Like, like I don't think much of you. It's like at that point, and I've had people come in and they're just the nicest of people, and I go out of my way to be nice with them. Like when you are nice, I try to beat your niceness. But when you're nasty, I try to beat your nasty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when you're nasty for no reason. Like, there's no reason. I've done nothing to you. First of all, I don't even know you. We haven't even had a proper introduction. So there's that. And then you want to come at me with, I guess, whatever your assumptions are based on the age of my kids, based on how my kids look, based on how I look, based on whatever it is. When you come at me for no reason, I'm going to give you a reason not to come at me.
Yeah. So then you ran into him. Hey, Wade Gookins like, happy Sunday. Y'all need to chill out.
Maybe I need a wine. Ooh, I need a buzz ball.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah. They like me when I have a buzz ball.
Yeah. I don't know about the buzz ball.
Oh.
Tomorrow's Monday, too.
It is Monday.
Yeah, so that's probably not a good thing. Yeah, I'm sure people are like, dang, what happened to them? Nothing. It's just nobody's got time for the crap. Like, you deal with so much crap. Yeah, buzzballs make you happy. Like, there's so much crap that's so much negative. And I think it's due to, like, politics. You're seeing it on TV all over the place. You're seeing people who are negative with this Kobe Bryant thing. People are negative in society, just nasty. And people are tired of it. And so people who normally, naturally, they never really say much, and they're just kind of calm and nice, are firing back because it's like.
The other thing too is you've always, I mean, people always say the adage or whatever, like you never speak ill of the dead.
Right.
Like, don't talk about somebody if they can't defend themselves.
That's the most cowardly thing.
Because, and that's the thing. So like the accusations happened in the early 2000s,
17
right?
years ago, I think.
So if y'all weren't talking about him this whole time,
nope,
then y'all shouldn't be talking about him now.
Right.
Because the thing is that you're impacting his wife and you're impacting his 3 daughters that have survived.
They don't care.
He has one daughter that's 6 months old who will never, ever know her father. She'll know that he was a legend. She'll know all these great things that he did, but it's also going to be powdered with all this negative stuff that again, may or may not have happened, right?
Right.
I wasn't there, you weren't there, y'all weren't there either. They weren't there. So he also has a 3-year-old who I can't imagine.
Did you have a good day at the studio today, or was it rough? Like you, I ain't never. This ain't typical. I mean, you just going off. Like you are just.
Am I?
0 to 1,000, like from the beginning of the video, like crazy. Like I'm trying to keep up, but dang.
This is what your videos are like.
Nah, yeah, you're keeping it real. Like I'm like, dang, I'm looking to see that line up there. It might not be enough.
No, but that's the thing. Like, you don't speak about somebody who can't speak for themselves. Yeah. And then you're just making it harder.
People are salty.
Because the thing is that his wife didn't just lose her husband.
She
lost her daughter.
Yeah.
And so she has to be strong through this because she has 3 other girls that are still, we've got Sweets, who's 3. I cannot imagine what that's like. Where's Daddy? Where's Gigi? Where's Daddy? I mean, like...
Constant questions, too.
Right. And so they're not able to properly grieve. She didn't ask to be famous. Like, she met him when he wasn't even famous.
He was 22. He was
He was just starting.
And he even talked about that. Like, what people fail to understand is there were many different attractive women walking around. And he went directly to her. He's like, that's the one. And there's a reason for that. She didn't ask for it. And the problem is the reason why people are upset is because they wish they could be her, and they wish they could have had what she had. And the fact that they don't look like her.
That's a sad way of living life.
Exactly. Like better yourself.
I've never in my life wished to be anyone other than who I am.
Right.
Like, have I wished to maybe have a little more money or have a little more whatever, a little more booty or whatever? Maybe. But I've never wished that I had somebody else's life. Because also, you don't know what goes on behind their walls.
Man. No, he's talking about having more butt. Just taking it all the way. Like,
I mean, every girl wants, like, boobs and booty. Anyway. This live stream is
all over the place. It's all over the place.
This is hanging out with Noe.
I mean, yeah, like, dang. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's sad. It really is. It's sad, and it highlights those people. Like people, I think look at that and say, yeah, you're toxic. Like it really shows like how. And the thing is that Kobe is too great for, I mean, the stuff he done in terms of like, or that he had done in terms of like building up the community, doing all these great things, like you can't diminish it. Like no matter what you do, and that makes people even more pissed off. You know what I'm saying?
Which it's like,
they're upset because his wife stood by him.
You look slim, man.
I've been trying, man. Like I don't know if you're a man or a woman.
Seattle tea grind.
But I've been trying. I've been doing a lot of bicycle work. Been doing a lot of like exercise because I got to go out there on the beach in Hawaii. So
it's Marcello. Hey, Marcello.
Hey, how's it going, man? So yeah, I've been trying to, but yeah, they're trying to like tarnish it, and people look at that and are like, ew. You know what I mean? Like, really?
Find something better to do with your life.
Exactly.
Like honestly, find something that's gonna bring you happiness. Other than cutting other people down. And cutting people down who don't even know you.
Right.
Like what value do you get from that? I don't understand.
Well, just like the person I was saying that left that nasty thing, you know, that nasty verbiage, and I'm like, what do you have to offer other than a skeezer image?
Right. So Wei-Gukin, I would have less of a problem with people talking negative of Kobe if they did the same thing for Hugh Hefner and the people in Hollywood, or the Hamptons who allegedly have done or are doing a lot worse.
Right.
Or how about our president?
You're right.
I'll leave it at that.
Right. Like, that's the thing. That's why it doesn't hold water. Like, you can't cherry pick. It's all wrong. I won't say it's not wrong. But whenever...
Blacka, you know the answer to that. We haven't seen Blacka in forever. Hey, Blacka. His lips tell the whole answer right there.
So getting back to the topic. So You know, it's like
Let me just do squats.
Man, what is up with Noe?
What?
It's like you've had like a few drinks or something. Did you drink some wine at the video or something?
I'm good. This is pure Noe.
Anyway, so yeah, just trying to tarnish him and his beautiful wife, it doesn't work. It's not, nobody's paying attention to that really. But and it's sad. It's sad that there are people who do that. And when you look at their life and you look at who it is that's saying it, you just look. And it's like, ew. You know, like just in general, I'm not trying to make it all about appearance, but just look at it and then look at the stuff they say. It's like there's none of you at all that makes anything appealing. Like it's not appealing. Just because you're born a chick doesn't mean that somebody's going to be all about it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. So, you know, it doesn't mean that people are going to be all about it. You have to bring something to the table. And so when he met Vanessa, she brought a lot to the table. You know what I mean? He didn't have much.
It was true, like, young love. Like,
right. And I say he had pimples. I don't know if he had pimples back in the day.
Well, I mean, they were super young. Like,
I had a bunch of pimples.
That was like the true, like, we started from the bottom, now we're here kind of thing. Like, right. They met.
People mad that, you know, she's got $700 million. And they're upset that they're not going to take it and spend it and waste it. That's
and
what
you know what? She shared her husband with the world.
Yeah, I mean,
like
in one of the videos, because there's two videos that I'm about to release that somebody had a good valid question, and it's all about, you know, you can't trust people. I said you keep your bubble very. I have a bubble. I have a world, and what's inside that bubble?
Ah, yes.
Okay, so it says filter coffee, not people. And so my brother-in-law, I was going to say son-in-law, my brother-in-law got me this for Christmas. So it's a pretty good, because he knows I love coffee.
I think it came from a coffee shop or a place in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. So he's pretty cool. So, but I said, you know, I keep my bubble, the people in there, very, very tight. Like it's not a lot of people. It's people who I can trust. And I said, there's a lot of people I know that are in my orbit. They're good people. They're nice people, but they don't get inside this bubble. And I was talking about how, like, you know, you have to be careful with who you hang out with and the people that you're around. I say, even with us, like we went on a date. It wasn't just, and I said, as a young man, don't sit like on your first date, you're just meeting someone. You know, don't go home the first night with somebody. Don't, even on our date, like we had a plant or something in between us at Starbucks. Like we were facing the door.
He also didn't think I liked him, but that's another.
Well, because she gave me a brother.
I was nervous.
So anyhow, so we had something in between us. Don't sit with your chair right next to someone, because guess what? Someone can blame or say that you were trying to touch them inappropriately. Don't sit in the back of the place. Sit up front where people can see you, because you cannot trust anyone. Like, trust is something that is earned. And I think that a female should be able to earn your trust. You should be able to earn theirs, right? And so I was given just that advice as to, you know, just be careful, because you can get burned a lot of times whenever you're not really thinking about it. And I said, there's people out there trying to get a come up. And the attacks against Kobe Bryant are those same people that are trying to get a come up. You see what I'm saying? Like, you just cannot trust people, no matter how good looking they are or how whatever. You just cannot trust people, and you need to take your time when you are getting, because this guy wants to know how he could actually settle down if you can't trust people. And I was saying, like, it takes time. Like, it took time. And I said the only time that, you know, you should go home with someone, especially after drinks, like don't go home with someone that had drinks, because that's a bad thing. But after it is, her friends knew me and my friends knew her, and we're dating, that's different. But when nobody knows, then you're going to set yourself up to a potential problem.
Yeah.
Not always, but the risks are just too high.
I mean, and this, I guess, goes into like safety things, but like, I mean, I knew, like, when I went out on a date with him, but also like when I met other people and went out on other dates, like always letting somebody know, like, hey, this is where I'm going, this is what time I'm gonna be there, and this is the name of the person that I'm meeting. Like, it's just it's a safety thing. So not like I'm expecting anything to happen, but on the off chance that it does, you've known my last my last information.
Yeah.
So
I think
and I think because that was 11 years ago. Yes.
Was it 11 or 12? That was 12 years ago.
2009. It was 11 years ago.
Okay.
So technology is a lot different now too. And so like you can, and maybe you could do it there, but you can ping your location and stuff like that. So like in terms of safety, in terms of like knowing like your last known location, like you can do all kinds of stuff like that. We maybe could have done it back then, but I think even for dudes to be like, hey, because it's not just a safety thing for
women.
It's a safety thing for dudes too.
Yeah.
And whether you're going to meet another woman, or if a woman's going to meet a woman or a man, or if a man's going to meet a woman or a man, like regardless, like keep yourself safe. Like let somebody know, like leave your virtual crumb trail. Like
when I say it goes for the workplace too. In that video, again, I haven't put it up yet. One of them I'm uploading, but even in the workplace, like be careful with who you joke with, who you hang out with, because you can't trust anybody. Because there could be a group of people, and this happened to me, group of people joking about something, and then you chime in and joke in, and which is what I did, and then the person that gets burned, not anybody else but me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like don't trust anybody. And so I was telling this guy, because people ask for advice, and I give advice every now and again, because like I've been through some stuff. Like I'm up there in age, not super old, but I'm up there. And so it's like I've seen some stuff.
You're seasoned.
I'm seasoned.
You're well seasoned.
So it's like, there's certain things you have to watch out for, and you just can't freely trust people anymore. Unfortunately, you just cannot just give people, the benefit of the doubt, because every time you do, or typically when you do, you end up getting burned. So I always, and I even made another reference. Like I've gotten on the elevator with people. It's where they put me in the silverware. So whenever I get on an elevator, I've been on an elevator before. There's been a woman that has gotten on, or maybe she's on before. If I see a woman on there, I have actually just said, "Oh, I'm going down." If they're going up, I don't get on. Or if I'm on and they get on, they're already nervous. So what I end up doing is I pick the floor next and I get off. And now some people, and when I've done it, they're like, but I'm like, I don't want there. And I've even said, because some people will probably say, well, there's cameras in an elevator, but what if I happen to get off on the same floor that she's on? There may not be cameras in between there. Mm-hmm. So I don't trust anything, because automatically I'm going to be the one that's going to be guilty. It doesn't matter what I say or anything. I'm going to be guilty. So why put yourself in that situation? Yeah, you have to. You have to get off to me personally, if there's nobody else, and if I have my kids, it's a little different, but if it's just me and there's a female on there, no. I instantly, as soon as they hit their button, I hit the other button so I can get off before. Yeah, or just wait for the next elevator. I tend to carry my phone in my one hand, my keys in the other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I typically do too. Like, a lot of times I would, even in college, I would have my bag, like my backpack was on and it was always loaded. I would always bring it around and have it like in front of me, like I'm looking for books or something, or get a book out, because I'm like, I don't trust nothing.
You're like, my Western Civ is a great time to read this.
It's upside down and everything. But I'm like, I don't trust nobody, because it's like, there's people out here who are truly genuine. And this is nothing against the instances where women are actually hurt or harmed or raped or whatever. Because I think that someone who does that to them should be prosecuted to the fullest, highest extent. But I also say, and I said this in this video, those who falsely accuse should also be prosecuted to the fullest, highest extent.
Yes.
So to me, there shouldn't be we cherry pick too much. We allow something, but we don't allow the other. And even YouTube does that. That's why early on I was coming on here saying something about YouTube. YouTube does the same thing. They'll allow someone to say all this hatred against groups of people. But yet, whenever you talk about something kind of positive, then they want to demonetize it. And it's like, really?
Or an actual current event.
Exactly. So. It's like, really? Like, it's just stupid.
I mean, in terms of, this is something, and I don't know if I've ever voiced this or not. You're like, uh-oh.
I'm just prepared myself.
But I mean, obviously, when I'm walking and stuff, I want to make sure that I'm safe. And, I'll usually, loop my finger through my key ring or something like that. So if I need to, I can do some damage with my keys. But I also, because of the day and age in which we live, if I see a single black guy, or if I see a black guy walking on the street and we're about to pass on the sidewalk, I will make a point to greet him with a smile or say hello or something like that, because I like times for you, I'm sure you've walked down a street and there's been a woman that's, clutched her purse. Like, I don't want to feed into that. And so if I'm like, if I can give them that positive experience of like, wow, I walked past a woman and she wasn't afraid of me.
Well, I mean, typically it happens nowadays. When I was younger, that used to happen quite often. Or it was me and a friend of mine, and we were walking. This was in Bowling Green, and you can hear the doors click, click, the automatic doors. And the funny thing is that if someone really wanted to get you, that little door with that little glass ain't gonna do nothing. If they want it, or you clenching your purse ain't gonna do nothing. If a guy my size and the other dude was almost close to my size, ain't gonna do nothing, right? One time, even here, I was walking to a bar, and there was a Asian guy. I think he was, I don't know how old he was, but he was probably in his 20s. He was walking, it was at nighttime. So he basically, and I've seen this happen even in Seattle, he walks down probably 20 feet. So he gets off the sidewalk, walk into the thing, and I'm like, dude, you have a bag full of stuff. I used to run track back in the day. So my sprint is still good. Long distance, I'm going to tank out and gas out quick. But if I really wanted to do you harm, you walking 20 feet away is not going to do anything. Like, it's just funny how some people are so, they project certain things that they really think is going to happen, and it doesn't happen. And then the people that they never suspect is when you get got. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I tell people, like, protect yourself, because when you expect something to happen, it probably won't. It's when you blindly walk into something and you say, nothing's going to happen. You end up actually getting burned. And so it's just funny. When people ask why we don't have the kids in the video, because you can't hear me.
I don't know, honey. All right. We've got the...
That was one of the things I noticed in Korea. No one crossed the street, clutched their purse, called me, even when I was lost. Meanwhile, I can't... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In one of the videos, I talk about how go get your passport if you're a young black man. And I know people get upset and they get thumbs down and all that. Again, it turns me on to get a thumbs down. I love it. I also love getting a thumbs up. I love that too. But these are facts. I'm not making something up. But get your passport and go to different places. The reason for that is because you'll see how differently you're treated. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's different. Like, if I make someone laugh, they think I'm the best ever. Here, even if I'm doing something great, I'm still, at the end of the day, people still will judge you. And so it's just sad. It's sad where we are as a society. But that's just kind of the stuff that we have to deal with. So if I can give people advice on what I've learned, there's still a lot of things I gotta learn, then I'm gonna do that.
Look!
You got your wish, Ron.
It's the Sweetsmeister!
You gonna show them your little toys? This might be a product endorsement, though. I don't think they can see that. Oh.
That's not blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry.
So, anyway, all right. The youngins are restless and they're hungry. Dinner has been cooking in the background, so and I think I'm all out of honesty.
Yeah, she now's got to take a nap after she did that.
No, I mean
she got amped up
a little bit, maybe.
I think because of that lady. It's probably that lady.
Oh,
She ran into her today.
Yeah, so, at the grocery store.
At the grocery store.
But I didn't really fully recognize it.
The girls did.
So this woman, I see this old woman who is putting groceries in her car. Okay, get down. Let Mama tell the story. So she, there's like angle parking this way and angle parking this way. She's in front of me. She's emptying her groceries and I'm getting the girls out of the car and everything. And then she was like, "Oh, do you want the basket?" Which happens, right? Like, people have done it for me. I've done it for people. Like, "Oh, I'll take that for you." Like, cool. And I was like, "Oh, sure, that'd be great." And then she just kind of like lingered there and like was kind of eyeing me. And it wasn't until, and then it started to kind of click in my head, and I'm like, wait a minute, she kind of looks familiar. So I just quickly like got the girls and we walked away and walked into the store. As soon as we got up on the sidewalk away from her, the girl was like, Mama, that's the lady from the studio. And I was like, I thought so. And they're like, she was wearing the same clothes and everything, and her voice sound the same. And so, because in my mind I was like, wait, I think that might be, but like, obviously I'm probably going to stand out more to her than her standing out to me, because I'm there with my 3 kids, which when she came into the studio, I was there with my 3 kids. So she knew, but it didn't fully register with me. But again, it's like, cool. Like, you didn't do me a huge favor. You were, you didn't want to bring your grocery cart back up. And so you offered it to me, which is fine. But that doesn't change how I feel. That doesn't change how you made me feel when you came into my place of business. And yeah, I do get a little amped up.
Yeah, she's getting turned up again.
Well, because, I did nothing wrong. And, like, that's the thing. Like, my kids did nothing wrong. So don't go trying to put stuff on me and my kids when we've done nothing wrong. And one little random act, I wouldn't even say it's an act of kindness, because
it was an act of laziness.
You're right. Like, like, okay, maybe it was courteous, because you see I have kids, maybe I want a cart for them. But also, woman, you didn't want to bring your cart back up to the store. So we're going to leave it at that. But I'm kind of glad that I didn't recognize her, because I don't know how that interaction would have gone had I recognized her fully and had the interaction.
See, if I would have recognized her, I'd been like, nah, I'm good. They're like, nah, I'm good. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm good.
And be like, actually, no.
Because that's just how I am. I'm like,
I didn't think about that, but I had already put her in.
I'm like, nah.
But also, like, I wasn't like hurting. Like, I was planning on going up to the store and getting my cart like I normally do. So anyway, that was that. Maybe that is what has amped me up and made me a little more, like the mama bear, but also like, don't come at me like for no reason.
Right.
And I still don't know what her name is. And frankly, I don't care at this point. But yeah, that's basically that. So.
Woo!
She doesn't know my name.
No, she doesn't.
And I'm sure she doesn't care either. So, I think that's about it. I'm probably gonna sign off. But thanks, guys, for joining us.
That was an awkward ending. You're like, you done went so.
What?
Like, she doesn't even know this and know that. But anyhow, I guess that's pretty much it. I think that's it right now. Thanks for the therapy session, guys. I'm gonna go.
It was the therapy session. What?
We're gonna get this things under here.
Okay, I think there's something under here. That was more entertaining than the Super Bowl. Yes, touchdown! Oh, is it on right now, or has it already been on? I don't even know. It's the 49ers and the Chiefs, right? Oh, that was also another thing. It's the last 2 minutes. I also didn't want to watch the game because the Chiefs were in it, and all their fans were probably going to be doing their little chop chant, which, okay, it's freaking 2020. Your name is offensive. Your mascot is offensive. How about y'all change it? Okay? That goes for the Cleveland Indians. That goes for the Kansas City Chiefs. That goes for the Redskins. Like, come on.
Well,
really?
What about the... What's the name of the Indian team? The baseball team?
The Indianapolis Indians. Yeah. I mean, all of them. Like, come on. Hey. The Atlanta Braves. And because they're the fans, they all have these ridiculous things. Like, it's what called the tomahawk chop. Come on. Seriously? That's a whole nother thing. But that's also why I didn't want to watch the game.
Now, because you said this, YouTube will definitely demonetize because they have people that believe in that. You see what I'm saying? But if Again, it's the cherry picking. It's like, no, we're not. I'm not Native American. I got like 1% or 2%.
Okay, Elizabeth Warren.
It's like I'm not, but it's like I can still say it's wrong.
It's
like,
wrong.
It's wrong. Like
You don't have to. You don't have to belong to a group to say that it's wrong. It shouldn't just be people that belong to a group to say that it's wrong.
Right.
It
is to me. It's just it doesn't make any sense. Hey, center of attention here.
So there's just things that get me riled up, and if something is wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the same thing about any particular group. If there's a name like that, it's silly. It's wrong. And then there's people that are going to defend it and say, well, whatever.
It's tradition.
But it's like, but let tradition be about you. If there was a name that was attached to you as a team, you would have an issue about it. And people would complain and say it's wrong. Sometimes you have to admit nothing wrong with that.
But
right?
like, this isn't even an event. Like, you get me on any normal day, I'm still going to have the same opinion.
That's true.
But you also don't get to see this side of me very often on YouTube because I'm
I
like,
don't get to see any side of you hardly on YouTube.
oh my God. I did videos when I was in Albuquerque.
That's true.
That was a month ago.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, this also, I feel like YouTube will censor me.
Well,
So-
they will.
You know, so I don't know.
I mean, the thing is that there are some people who have they have their livelihood on YouTube, so they.
I'm hungry too, I think, and I'm just like I'm jazzed.
I know.
I like speaking to the people.
But the funny thing is, and the reason why people are now addressing YouTube quite a bit is because of their cherry picking and the fact that they allow all of the nonsense that they do allow. You see what I'm saying? Like, it'd be different if across the board they were equal with how they do things, but the fact that they cherry pick and they want to still say, well, our advertisers don't allow it, yet their advertisers are on all types of other stuff. You know, movies that are in shows that are violent, yet if you talk about something that's black, or if you talk about a virus, or you talk about, they want to sit and demonetize it.
And who are the advertisers that
It's
are
not.
so against?
It's not.
No,
It's
you got
not.
like Big Pharma out there who's got ads. You've got Philip Morris who's got ads.
The video
like,
I posted, I sometimes test things. So I tested the video. I put the video up. It was a short clip of the girls that were walking around here in Tacoma during a concert, and they had just a thong on. Now those advertisers apparently don't have an issue with that, and YouTube doesn't have an issue with that. You see what I'm saying? Like it's cherry picking. It's just it's because there's a bunch of dudes that sit behind YouTube that decide what's allowed. And it's their platform. They can do whatever they want, but they can also take the criticism too.
which that brings up
There's a bunch of dudes, mostly white dudes,
white male fragility, folks.
who sit behind. This is not attack against white dudes, but this is, I'm telling you, a bunch of white dudes that basically run YouTube, and if it's a topic that they don't like, they're gonna demonetize it. It's as simple as that. So the attacks against black dudes, or the attacks against women, or the attacks against whatever, that's okay. But as soon as you start talking about something that's positive and it involves those groups, then they want to sit and demonetize it. So that's where people are having the issue. You see what I'm saying? And me, I don't care if my channel is taken off or not. As long as my videos are saved, I don't care. So it's like, go ahead. I mean, to me, it doesn't bother me. There's some people that want to say that and they can't because they rely on YouTube for their check. You see what I'm saying? Me, I don't. But the way that they handle themselves and the way they blame it on advertisers, it's like, but those same advertisers are on other platforms, or they're on the national news, and there's things that are talked about and shown, and there's images of wars, and yet it doesn't make sense. The excuse that YouTube gives doesn't make sense. Simple as that.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna end this, folks. The kids keep asking about dinner, and I thought I'd end this with our cute little Quince. Yeah, Quincy. Oh, you got my teeth. Say bye. Bye. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hopefully we didn't run any of you away. Oh, goodness. I got them both. All right. And happy February.
Unless they get offended by the truth. If they get offended by the truth, then scatter. But anyhow, I mean,
okay, can you take him?
ow, buddy.
Oh,
Gee, dude. Yeah, he scratched. But anyhow, I guess he got scared and ran from the truth. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time,
bye guys.
I will see you. Take care.
Say bye.
Okay.